Hi everyone, meteorologist Matt Gray here with the 4 News Now First Alert Weather Center. A dreary, drizzly, chilly day around the inland northwest, but the next storm is coming in for tomorrow and things are going to look and feel very different. It's going to start out as a positive, but could end up being quite the negative for some people by the time we get into the evening. So here's how to plan out your day, particularly for folks who maybe skipped Skyfest today and decided, maybe we'll take our chances for tomorrow. It looks like that is going to be the right decision, as we will see cloudy skies, but not as bad as what we saw today. And so that means that all of the air packs should be able to take off and do their performances safely, which unfortunately was not the case on Saturday because of the low clouds and the wet weather. Now, we do have some storms in the forecast. Whether or not we're going to see any action around Spokane, that is debatable, as our rain chance is only about 40% once we get into the evening. But certainly it is going to be something to monitor because some of these storms are going to be quite strong. So in particularly south of I-90, southeast Washington, and the north-central Idaho Panhandle area, between about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and about 8 o'clock in the evening, we have a chance for some very strong and, yes, potentially severe thunderstorms. So that means some high winds. It means we could see some big hail. It means that we could have quite a lot of lightning with these storms as well. And that's just because we're going to have a very warm atmosphere. It is really going to juice things up before a cold front comes in during the evening. And that is going to fire off some storms as they track basically from the Blue Mountains and push their way across the southern part of our viewing area. So the National Storm Prediction Center does have a very small chance for some severe weather risk, and that goes from eastern Oregon through the Blue Mountain region north to the Palouse, across the Palouse to St. Mary's and places like Wallace, and then across Idaho into the Bitterroot Valley and Missoula in Montana. So you can see here, largely this is, once again, south of Interstate 90. So the LC Valley, the Blue Mountains, the Palouse, the Camas Prairie, the St. Joe River, and Clearwater River countries. Those are where we're going to be watching for the most vigorous storms to pop up. We're going to be looking as well for some much needed rain in places like around the Okanagan Valley, where it has been tough to get some moisture recently. It does look like the leading edge of some of this wet weather is going to help things out from you, as well as down to Wenatchee and across the Waterville Plateau, where we'll have a chance to pick up a little bit of rain. Now, even though we're looking at most of the storm action being far south of Spokane, at least to start, you can see the storms firing up in Oregon and crossing the Blue Mountains here. As we get to 3 o'clock, and then they really start to pop up here as you see go through 4 or 5 o'clock. There is a chance right along the edge of some of our northern mountain valleys that we could get a storm or two that does appear in the afternoon. So even though the most vigorous storms are likely going to be south of I-90, everybody needs to be on the lookout for some rain and some stormy weather, basically anywhere after about 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we know that bumps up right up against Skyfest. So probably a good idea to keep your eyes on the skies if you are staying late for that, for the Thunderbirds. Now, as we go through the rest of your evening, these storms are going to be moving very fast. So they're going to be in and out very quickly. That means they'll likely see some very gusty winds along with these as well. And just so you can see, Pullman and Moscow have a very good chance of seeing some pretty stormy weather for Sunday evening. This is about 6 o'clock, but here is the positive side. This is 7 o'clock. By the time we get to, say, 8 or 9 o'clock, all the action is moved over into Montana, and we will be much quieter. It's a good thing, too, because there's a lunar eclipse coming for Sunday night. You want to look to the southeast at about 8 or 9 o'clock. We should see clearing skies. We'll have to see if we're able to see that with all those clouds out to the east where the moon will be rising. So fingers crossed for that. Lows tonight are going to be very mild as a result of this warmer air coming in behind the system today and ahead of the storm for tomorrow evening. And let me tell you, when I talk about juiced atmosphere, this is what I mean. 77 for the Tri-Cities, low 80s for Lewiston. Yeah, that is a big change from what we've seen around here recently. And yes, low 70s in Spokane and Coeur-d'Alene. 70s for the first time in 2022 in both those areas. So pretty good chance of hitting 70. If we don't, highly unlikely we hit 70 before next weekend. And so in Spokane, if we don't hit 70 tomorrow, we are likely going to set a brand new record for the latest 70-degree day in the year. So a lot to talk about in your forecast. But as far as the extended outlook goes, well, it's more cool weather, and it's more generally up and down wet weather. What else is new? That's been the case for almost 2 months now around the area, as spring, or at least late spring, has kind of refused to show up to the party. We'll keep you updated on the forecast for Sunday, and of course we'll have alerts through the KXOY app right to your phone if some nasty weather does develop. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll be back Sunday night with an update.